coming to you from an unknown location, at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, bringing you the unknown. Welcome to another spine-tingling episode of Paranormal 411. Your hosts are David Reagan and Jason Scott, and together, they dive headfirst into the mysteries that lurk just beyond our understanding, featuring notable experts ready to share their insights into the world of the strange and unknown. So pull up a chair, pour a cup of something warm, and prepare to be enthralled. Here at Paranormal 411, we're not just a radio show, we're a community of truth seekers, adventurers of the mind, exploring the boundaries of the known and unknown. We invite you to join us, to share your thoughts, your experiences, your questions. Whether you've had your own encounter with the supernatural or you're simply intrigued by the inexplicable, we want to hear from you. So, don't be shy. Drop a comment and let's unravel the mysteries of the universe together. Buckle up as we journey beyond the veil of the ordinary, into the heart of the extraordinary. This is Paranormal 411, where the inexplicable meets reality and imagination takes flight. Stay tuned and remember, in the world of the paranormal, nothing is as it seems.
All right.
We are here.
Yes. So tonight we're going to have a great show.
We are.
What are we going to talk about, Jason?
We're going to be talking about the feral people in the Smokies.
Yes. We got some actual goes back a ways. It talks about some of the feral sightings to some more recent times of people on Reddit and some other places that have told some of their stories that we're going to tell for you tonight. Now, what's crazy about all this is for me wanting to talk about this today kind of started yesterday. Hey, Michelle. So I was talking to my brother-in-law, Greg, and I was talking to him about what he does and where he works, and we kind of come upon the, feral people. And he says that, he was told by a boss of his where you could go and actually see feral people. And
live to tell about it.
Well, no, he didn't say nothing about that. He said he would be careful. And now I do want everyone to know that at the end of this, we're going to kind of talk about some good places that we might be able to go to and things like that. None of these places are the places that I was told last night. So
we're keeping that a secret.
I'm going to keep that a secret because we want to go and investigate and see. I mean, if it's possible, then cool. Maybe we could catch it.
Oh yeah.
So it'll make for fun. It probably won't be something we do until, say, spring.
Yeah. Get
So,
the old camper out.
Yeah, go have some fun. You want to kick this thing off?
So the legend of the Wild Man, which is feral, I think. From North Carolina from 1877 is a tale that's intrigued many over the years. And in 1877, a group of gold miners were traveling through the Globe Valley in Caldwell County. Now this was in North Carolina, and during their little adventure, they encountered what they described as a wild man. So it was unlike anything anyone had ever seen before, according to one miner. The wild man appeared to be a giant standing at 6 feet 5 inches with a funnel-shaped head. And 2-inch long dark hair covering all of its body. So the miners got within about 40 yards of the thing before, he noticed them. They noticed them. And when it seen them, the wild man pounded on his chest. What does that put you in reminding?
Right.
Yeah. And then ran off into the woods with the speed of a deer. So the miners, they wanted to uncover more about this mysterious figure, and they tracked him, but they had their guns drawn. Yeah, their pursuit took them deep into a cave in the mountains. So inside the cave, the miners found bones of a lot of different animals scattered all over the place. And that indicated that the wild man had been living there for some time. And this discovery added to the eerie and mysterious nature of the encounter. So the story of the wild man of North Carolina is similar to hundreds of other sightings and encounters, confrontations that supposedly took place across the United States following the Civil War. And a lot of these details were often reported in newspapers, magazines. The wild man was typically described as a large, hairy figure with extraordinary strength and speed. But it lived, away from human society, while, existence of feral humans is still not completely proven.
Right.
But it's continued to, it's becoming more and more fascinating, and more people are out there looking for them.
Yes. Yeah, I do find the subject fascinating.
It is.
Because there's a lot of tales. There's a tale of during right after World War II of the Japanese soldier that came up out of the woods after, like, what was it, 10 years or something after the war had even ended.
Yeah.
And he came out of the woods finally.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't think it's unheard of to have anything like that actually happen.
Did you watch the episode of Gilligan's Island where
I watched a lot of Gilligan's Island. I don't know if I remember
the Japanese guy thought the war was still going on. He was stuck on the island. He was capturing all of them and putting them in jail.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, he wore his glasses and he was like squint-eyed. It was pretty funny.
Gilligan's Island was always funny.
Yeah, I watched every one of them hundreds of times.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I probably have seen that one. I just don't remember it.
Yeah, you have.
And here's another one. Now, this one, a lot of people have heard of this story. And this is the Dennis Martin case. Now, this happened on Saturday, June 14th, 1969. Now, the Martin family visited the Smoky Mountain National Park in Tennessee. They ran into some other campers, also called the Martin family, that had kids that Dennis and his older brother could play with. Now, both families allowed the kids to play together, and the kids started a game of, kind of like hide and seek. And what they'd do is they'd try to jump out and surprise adults as they come by, right? Now, Dennis was last seen by his father going behind a bush just right inside the tree line, as the other kids also hid. Now, the only difference is that Dennis never came out from behind the bush. His father ran 2 miles down the trail looking for his son, and he stopped when he knew Dennis could not have gotten that far. At that time, they called for park rangers. Now, Harold Key was a visitor to the park. He reported a loud scream on the afternoon Martin disappeared. Shortly after, he claims to have seen a disheveled man covered in hair and attempting to remain unseen, fleeing through the woods. Now, Key's family elaborated that the figure had a red object slung over its shoulder, matching the clothing Martin was wearing. Now, despite the report, FBI investigators ultimately dismissed it, given that the sighting had taken place more than 5 miles from where Martin had vanished, and Key was unclear to the timeline. Now, Key later speculated that the man may have been a moonshiner, explaining his reluctance to be seen. One retired park ranger laminated the failure to promptly follow up, either from the footprints or the sighting of the rough-looking man. He argued that the location of the sighting was downhill from where Martin disappeared, and it was more than reasonable for a relatively fit individual to cover that distance in the time frame, even carrying a child. So they should have looked. Now, what was this disheveled man covered in hair? The man had the child slung over its shoulder, trying not to be seen. Why wouldn't the FBI look into this? What do you think, Jason? What?
To cover up.
Yeah, you think so? You think they know about it?
I think they're covering up the tests that they performed on them people.
Yeah. Now, almost 1,500 people searched for Dennis, and the Martin family even reached out to psychics for help. Now, on June 23rd, police dogs were brought in, but the dogs refused to track that area, only sitting down and whimpering. On the 26th, a man called into Carson Brewer, one of the Knoxville News Sentinel, told him to inform the searchers to look in the trees and treetops and stop looking on the ground. Now, that's pretty weird, right?
Yeah. Is this a feral person or is it Bigfoot?
I don't know. Now, this cryptic phone call was another of the strange details that surrounded the case that just doesn't seem to set right. Now, the official search would end on the 29th of June and would continue until September. The Martin family refusing to believe their son was dead because there was no body, no blood. So that led them to the conclusion, that he wasn't dead at the time. So they put up a $5,000 reward for information leading to the return of their son. Now, the government and the military were heavily involved in the search for Dennis Martin, much more so than any other missing persons case. They used an airplane, multiple helicopters, jeeps, and National Guard units. Special forces were called in, and several military command posts were established that were working independently of the National Park Service and the FBI. Now, in the official case report and the incident, it states that President Nixon was monitoring the situation and wanted to be kept up to speed. The sheer scope of the government and military involvement on this event was unprecedented. Green Berets at one time were called in, and they told park rangers and independent searchers not to get involved any longer. Now, why would they call Green Berets in? That's what I want to know. Locals state that the Green Berets stayed in the woods for a week. One of the military men that were involved told a park ranger, "We took care of what snatched Dennis." Isn't that not crazy?
So they took care of it?
That's what the person said, that one of them said anyway. The stories reported in papers are different from what the locals state. Now, they also said that the military had knowledge of the feral wild men in the Smoky Mountains, and this is why they got involved in the Martin case. Now, while the Green Berets were in those woods, they killed over 30 feral wild men, is what they said, including the one that snatched Dennis Martin. Is that not crazy?
Has that ever been publicly?
No, this comes from local stories.
Oh.
So these are all what locals were told. The military did find the bones and clothes that belonged to Dennis, but it was decided not to inform the family as they could not handle it. Again, this is all hearsay. This is all stuff that people told this investigator. So they do believe that the feral man ate him. And the military later came in to kill all the men that they could find. But there are still reports of feral men in the area even today. which is crazy. Now, right here, we go into a little bit more of, people's actual encounters and stuff like that. Then, the last of that I will say was that person's side, where he had talked to local people. So how real all that was is it's up for speculation, because I just don't know about that part of it myself. But if it's on there, I'm going to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well, right?
Might as well.
Could you imagine? What do you think? You think that there's a possibility that there's wild people that live up in the mountains, and that they're cannibals also? I wouldn't see why they would need to be cannibals. There's so much food there.
Yeah.
From fish to wildlife to
their minds may not be right, they can be harsh. Could, make their minds go crazy.
right.
A lot of them, they're inbred, and they're probably not all there anyway.
The hills have eyes.
Yeah. I would say, I'm not a professional on feral people, but to me, it's something to do with their lack of brain power.
They got the brain size of a walnut.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think they're all, inbred, and
well, this next
that don't
story,
work right.
This next story has something that has some little things like that.
So this is a person in North Idaho. We're not going to mention no name here, but I'm going to read what he wrote, I guess. It says, I have encountered feral humans in North Idaho. My daughter and I were lost after taking a wrong turn in the backcountry of Shoshone County. The area was uninhabited forest land. An adult albino male and female emerged onto the shoulder of the gravel road and were being followed by a young boy and girl who were both naked. They too were both albino. Both adults were wearing tattered long sleeve shirts, but no pants or shoes. They all were grotesquely disfigured with facial deformities, with pronounced brows and cheekbones and non-symmetrical skulls. And they had an offset lower jaw. They all had thin lips, open mouths with exposed crooked teeth. They had white, dirty hair, and it was patchy with bald spots.
Sounds like they watched Hills Have Eyes.
That's what it sounds like.
It does, yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and read it, though.
Yeah.
They looked malnourished with twisted spines and bony limbs, and their heads looked disproportionately large for their bodies.
What would look like that if he was malnourished?
Yeah. So the man and woman lunged at the truck with their arms outstretched, both making loud grunting sounds. His daughter was screaming, absolutely terrified by their appearance and behavior, but needless to say, he didn't stop or slow down. They were only going about 10 miles an hour due to the condition of the road. There was no driveways or evidence of houses for miles, and they literally went 20 miles from the nearest paved road. They were 20 miles from the nearest paved road. And every once in a while, his daughter would bring the incident up in conversation to this day. And that's just 25 years later. So, and he said he don't have an explanation for what he witnessed.
That would be crazy. Faces in the Stone says they might say that you were the one who is nuts living in nature. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm tired of Babylon. I can't believe how it's turned out. Take me back to the woods. I think that, how can I say this? Living at one with nature, that's different. Than this, though, because this is like people whose maybe reverted back to, I don't know what to
Cave
say.
people.
Yeah, like just wild. I mean, it's like they've reverted back. But I know what you're talking about because here at the bunker, we too have started doing some things, for ourselves more. We are still part of this culture and stuff, but we raise chickens and we have big gardens and try to can and do all that stuff. So, but I could see the allure of wanting to go back. Couldn't you? Back to
Yeah.
a simpler time.
Yeah.
I could.
Like the Wild West. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Be a bank robber.
Michelle says they may have gotten a disease called, what was that, Kuru from eating people?
Yeah, I've
It
heard
could
about
cause
that.
cellular mutation. Huh.
That could be, their disformities.
That's very, very interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
Yeah, I read about it today when I was looking at stuff.
Have you? So what is it like?
It's just a disease that you get when you eat another human. I didn't read on, the scientific part of it, but
Christina says Jason couldn't live without the internet. So if you lived in the woods, you'd just have to be connected to the internet. You'd be all right.
I'd have a solar charger for my phone.
um,
I'd have a TV.
TV.
Yeah, I couldn't make it. No, I couldn't. Might as well go ahead and kill me.
Cannibalism happened, what they say, faces in the stone, happened throughout our human history and actually happened during our documented history. Yes, the Donner Party. I've been right up through there as a long haul truck driver. I've been off the road now for, I guess, almost 6 months, but the wife and I used to team drive and we went up through there quite a bit. Stopped at the rest area and everything there. Got a lot of pictures. It's pretty cool. At the rest area, it says like so many miles from this stone was where the Donner Party was and all that stuff. Yeah. What's crazy is that over one night period, it could literally drop like 5 feet of snow up there. 5 feet of snow in a night.
I remember another movie or a movie about, eating other people, and it was a real good movie. It's called Alive. It's about the plane crash that happened over the Andes Mountains.
Oh yeah, they was eating the dead, wasn't they?
Yeah, they had to. They didn't have nothing else to eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be rough. But to survive, that's what people did.
To be hungry. That's all it, I guess. Now this is another tale. In 1976, this person was in the National Guard in Newport, Tennessee. They signed out a Jeep and another soldier, and they went on a recruiting trip. Now, they were giving a tip to drive up Hall's Peak in English Mountain, part of the Smoky Mountain chain. They said that there were people we could talk to. Now, Hall's Peak, they said, was barely gravel with a pretty steep grade 2/3 of the way up. A young male stood off the side. As Randy and I got closer, it says, the person said, "Get the heck out of here." And they said as they got close enough, they was truly scared. They said that the male's head was misshapen, one eye lower than the other. He was the dirtiest person I've ever seen, and we could smell him 30 feet away. He smelled like rotting meat. Said neither one of them spoke a word all the way off the peak. They said when they got back to the motor pool, the sergeant asked what was wrong. They said that they told him, and the sergeant got mad, asking what they were doing up there. And they said that they were advised to go up there to look for recruits. Then they said that he tore into the guys that told him to go there, telling them that they could have gotten them killed, and that those people up there kill and eat people. And this was the person they said this was a true story on what happened to them.
And that was in Kingsport.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Newport, Tennessee.
Newport.
Yeah. But they went to English Mountain. Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. Interesting, right?
It is.
And I that story was on, might have been Reddit where I found that story.
Hmm. So this person writes that they're on the north side of the Great Smoky Mountains and they've lived there their entire life. And everybody knows up in that area what's in the woods and mountains.
Mm-hmm.
So since the 30s and 40s, there have been feral wild men living in the mountains. They're quick, you know, they're fast. They snatch livestock up and children, and the FBI knows. So that's why they don't get involved. And he said he's heard other stories that there was some attempt to kill these feral wild men, but they still exist. And even today, he's not talking about some end of days extremist who took to the woods. He means real feral, completely wild people with their own language living underground.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So they don't go into the woods at night.
I know one of them, Halloween Sickness, is one.
Yeah.
Oh, Roger.
And during the day, they make sure they stay on the trails. Sometimes you can smell it. It's that putrid smell.
Mm.
At night, you'll hear them hollering and excuse me.
Dang.
Use me. And the locals around there know what happened to Dennis Martin. He was snatched up by one of the feral people.
See that?
It's not uncommon for people to go missing, you know, there. They're normally found, but you'd also be surprised on the number of children that simply just disappear. The FBI's covered it up for years. And he says, where do you think they got the movie The Hills Have Eyes?
That's what we was just talking about. I don't know. I think that there's definitely some stuff. Wonder why in the world the FBI doesn't acknowledge them or do something.
Cover up. I mean, people, they probably know this like they know about extraterrestrials.
Right. Well,
they just don't think people's
they've definitely covered that up.
Smart enough
Right.
to understand. I don't know.
Eric the Great, you may as well eat raw monkey brain. Joe Rogan, considering they are 97% human. And he just
sacrificed Jesus.
Might
as well.
Yeah.
Monkey brain's a delicatessen in
Not South America somewhere or something?
Somewhere over in the jungle.
Yeah. Nope.
I've seen it on Faces of Death.
Yeah, I remember that.
You remember watching that where they had that monkey put up in the center of the table?
Yes.
And they hit it with little hammers and killed it and then cut its head off, the top of its head off, and eat the brain.
Yeah, I used to, when I was young, I'd rent those Faces of Death videos. But dude, I think I did it once or twice, and I don't know if I even watched all of it.
I didn't. I've seen that part with the monkey, but
I was like, that's some crazy stuff, man. Recently watched Les Stroud with his Bigfoot coverage. 100% enough space. Exactly. Yeah, I think that you're absolutely right, Faces in the Stone, because, you know, this is something that we're going to get into here in a little bit, you know, about just some of the areas just around here, you know, in the East Tennessee area and stuff like that, that could so support, you know, other life, whether it's feral people, whether it's Bigfoot, or any of that stuff. And these things, you know, all over the United States, we have all these kind of, you know, places that the government owns They say it's ours, but you know, the government owns the land, and that these people could live in, or these types of things could live in, and that may be why, you know, why they do know about them is
Right.
because of that stuff. I mean, I really believe it. You know, we started off the show talking about, you know, all this whole thing for me got started yesterday with a brother-in-law of mine that works for the Forest Service. And he was talking to me about a place we could go to actually find feral people. And his boss told him where it is. So, yeah, actually, absolutely. There is enough food, shelter. You know, East Tennessee and all up through here has a lot of caves, huge cave systems. Knoxville alone has a 10-mile caverns. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually go and get maps of it and go explore it. So, yeehaw, right?
Yeah.
So, where are we at in our? So, you know, there's numerous local legends and tales that persist about these figures that lurk in the remote areas of the Smoky Mountains, whether it be wild men, Bigfoot, skunk apes. Well, skunk apes is more in Florida, but you know what I'm talking about. Just these things that we think shouldn't be there. Right? They can't exist. But these things are there's tons of people who see these things and talk about these things, and you know these things are often described, or these people are often described as individuals who appear wild, unkempt, seemingly disconnected from modern society. Now, again, these do lack concrete evidence, but you know, with all the people who have seen and saying that they've seen what they've seen, do you believe that feral people might actually exist? I mean, like I said, and like, you know, Faces in the Stone said, there's definitely enough space. There's enough food, you know. I mean, there's an ecosystem out there that can definitely maintain, you know, a pretty good sizable amount of people, I would think. Um, yeah, you're right. Native American legends do talk about it. Um, Christina says, yes, they are out there. I, I don't know. I believe that there is something out there because I don't think that everybody that comes back with these stories are telling a story.
Yeah, I think something's out there, and as time progresses, more and more people are going to the woods or hiking and exploring nature, and they're seeing these things.
Right.
They're probably, it started off as living in a place that you know, a lot of humans wouldn't, or a lot of people wouldn't gather.
Right.
But now people are gathering in the trails and everywhere doing all this stuff.
Right.
And that's when
Running
we're seeing
across them
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense to me. It does. And you know, probably this close to this summer, we'll go, you know, where the brother-in-law says that his boss says that these things are, and maybe we'll film it. We'll see if we could catch something. What do you think?
We can try it.
I think it's worth a shot. Hey, if we don't catch feral people, maybe we'll catch Bigfoot. Maybe they're one and the same. So many people go missing from the national parks. Right. That may be true too. That the national parks may have been created to help protect these pockets of, you know, people.
Well, you know, they were protected. They're protecting the wildlife for sure.
Right.
And they're part of the wildlife.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We'll never know unless we go.
Right. Well, we will go. We're just going to wait for a little bit nicer weather. I mean, I'm fine up in the woods now, but I don't know how Jason would do.
Give me a little 4-wheeler.
We're gonna be way off in the woods,
I'll be
Jason.
packing my sidearm.
I will bring a gun, which you can do in the national parks anyway. But now we're considering the factors that we've laid out today. We do have some areas in the Smoky Mountains that would be promising for investigation. Now, none of these are the spot that was told to me because I want to keep it a secret. Just in case, right, Jason?
Yeah.
So one of them is the Cataloochee Valley. Now, it is and has had sightings of feral people. Now, this place is remote and undeveloped. It offers vast stretches of wilderness, especially in the higher elevations where it's easier to avoid most human contact. The valley also provides resources for survival, includes water, game, edible plants. Now, that area does have a rich history, including it has a bunch of abandoned homesteads, old roads, which also could provide shelter and potential hiding spots. Now, there are numerous local tales and legends associated with the valley, including stories of individuals and strange occurrences. There's also a lot of limited human activity there. So it is a popular tourist destination, but there are large areas that remain relatively undisturbed, especially in the off season. So that's one reason that the Cataloochee Valley would make a really good place.
Now, where is it's in the Smoky Mountains National
Yes.
Park. Is
Yes.
it on the North Carolina side, or we have to look that up?
Yeah, let's see. I can tell you exactly.
So another location will be the backcountry of the Great Smoky Mountains. It offers several characteristics that can make it a potential habitat for the deliverance for feral people. It's not developed. It's remote. It's
check.
It's uninhabited largely.
Right.
It provides an opportunity for isolation and concealment.
Right.
And it's full of natural resources, water, game, edible plants, edible mushrooms, which they could sustain a person living off the land.
Right.
The terrain, including the mountains, valleys, and forests, offers a lot of hiding places. Like David said, there's caves all over the place, potential shelters.
Right.
Very little human activity. But the park does attract a lot of people, millions of visitors each year. But the backcountry area are less frequently, allowing for, a lot more privacy and less chance of being discovered.
Faces of the Stone says that I study and have access to the LiDAR data and archaeological work. The data is available to everyone. However, it is not easy to get. It was paid for by your tax dollars, so they have to give it to us. That's interesting.
It is.
Only Oscar says, I'm glad we're done traveling the U.S. Right. That's funny. Now, the Oconaluftee River Valley in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park actually has a lot of potential advantages for people and stuff like that to survive and remain undetected. Now, there's a lot of natural resources. Again, there's the Oconaluftee River, which offers fresh water, fish. The surrounding forests have ample food such as berries, nuts, and game. Now, the valley is a popular tourist destination, but there are still very remote and undeveloped areas, particularly in the higher elevations. And so that could actually give people places for solitude and shelter. Now, the Cherokee Indian settlement and old homesteads, some of these historic sites could prove potential shelter or hiding places. And the valley has a diverse range of terrain, including forests, mountains, river valleys, which could all provide various opportunities for survival and concealment. So these are just 3 areas that I, looked for when we was looking for this, wasn't it, Jason?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure anywhere in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park or anywhere up there would probably suffice for any of this stuff, because when you look at it, this Great Smoky Mountains National Park is, a what is it called? It's something rainforest.
Natural.
Well, not natural. Why does it escape me right now? Anyway, it gets all 4 seasons, but it's rainforest. We get I think it's 70 or 80 inches of rain a year. It might be 60 something inches of rain a year, something like that. So, I mean, there's waterfall. There's always water up there. That's the main thing that you have to live. You can find nuts and berries and everything else and go fishing and stuff. So if you know how to live off the land, it would definitely be a good place for you to be able to do it. Anywhere, I think, in our national forests up here, East Tennessee, North South Carolina, all the way through, I think that it would definitely sustain life as we know it anyway, right? So for a human or a humanoid, would definitely be able to do it. And like I said, what got me wanting to do this was the fact that I was talking to my brother-in-law and they were talking about looking into a lot of the files. And did you know that you can't find a single file past 1973 or something? They're all gone. They're all just disappeared.
Feral people or people living in the woods are going to have a higher sense of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They can track animals. They can see ultraviolet. For instance, seeds glow. It's almost alien compared to us.
Right.
Faces of death. Yes.
Yeah.
Faces of death. Faces of stone. Facing the stone.
Faces
Got me talking about that
stone.
movie. Faces of death.
Yeah.
Got me all messed up. I won't sleep a wink.
Yeah, I haven't watched that stuff since I was a kid, and I stopped watching it for a reason.
Yeah. I think the more people go to these places, have you seen what's happened in Gatlinburg? People just all over the place up there. What's up there now? A bunch of bears.
Yeah.
These things may come out when people are around, They may start doing like the bears, looking for food.
Well, if more habitat gets taken,
yeah,
that's what they have to do, right? For sure. But I don't know. I mean, I think that the Great Smoky Mountains National Park up here is one of the most visited parks in the United States. And there's millions of people come here every year. And, I think that if more and more come out and start hiking all the trails and start doing all that stuff, we could definitely see a lot more people coming back telling us stories, of what they've seen, be it Bigfoot or feral people. And but that also has a higher risk of like David Paulides talks about, missing 411 stuff, of people dying and going missing in the woods, and never to be seen again too. Kind of like the Dennis Martin case,
Yeah.
Which would be a tragedy.
Well, you know, a child is a lot easier to steal than the full grown.
Yeah, but you know, I think on the feral people side, yes.
Yeah.
I think on the Bigfoot side, no. I don't
Don't
think it
matter.
would matter. Yeah, because there's stories of a guy. Did you hear the story about the guy that got picked up in his sleeping bag? This was back in the 1800s, I think it was. He was out camping, or he was going from one place to another, and he was stopped the night for sleep. He woke up being carried across this big hairy thing's shoulder, still in the sleeping bag. And the thing carried him for about a day, and then finally let him down. And when he did, he was there with a female Bigfoot and some young ones. And he was there with them for like 3 days, I think it was. And finally, he was taking a dip, putting it in his mouth, and the male was curious about it and came over to get some and smelled it, and it started freaking out because it got in his nose and stuff. And the guy took that brief minute to hightail it out of there.
Well, at least they didn't eat him.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't there long enough to be eaten yet, I guess. Maybe those, tenderizing him up for
3 days. That's
3 days. Yeah. He was there for 3 days with them. He retold this account. It was in a news article. It was pretty neat, So,
well,
but that's all we have for you tonight. We just wanted to do this feral people one. Again, it was because it was brought to my attention last night that maybe the Forest Service actually knows something about it. Someone made a comment.
Yeah, I would say they do know about it.
I'm definitely going to bring some chewing tobacco. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's what saved his life or got him away from them. I mean,
I don't think so.
maybe it's a little of both, right? That's what Hills Had Eyes did.
I don't
Right? They
think they're that
bred and then
smart.
they ate. Then they ate them.
Well, if you breed them and eat them, you don't get no kid.
Thank you, Faces in the Stone. Thank you for subscribing. Oh, what do you do in North Carolina? That's interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, let us know. You could find us at paranormal411.org, Paranormal 411 on Facebook, YouTube, and X. You can tune in live every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturdays from 8 to 10. Also on Saturdays from 10 to 11, if you're in the metro Atlanta area, you catch us on WDJY-FM. That's 99.1 FM. Now, for listeners outside of Atlanta, you go to WDJYFM.com or you go to paranormal411.org and click the link. Now, we do have a book, East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore Edition 2. It's a great book. East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore Edition 2. It is available on Amazon, or you go to paranormal411.org and click the link. Join us.
Yeah, join us.
And Jason also has some news that he wants to talk about for a minute too, don't you, Jason?
Oh, yeah, January. Well, first of all, the first part of the news is January the 10th. We're going to be on Paranormality podcast.
Yep.
With the Sandman. So we'll let everybody know when it's going to be at 7 p.m. on the 10th of January.
Oh, archaeology. Oh my goodness. Faces in the Stone. Have you had anything to do with up there at Brasstown Bald in Georgia area too? Or do you know anything about that? Because I am interested. Oh, I'm sorry, Jason. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I forgot what I was talking about now.
You said January. We're
going to record it January the
Yes.
10th, so we'll let everybody know when it comes out. And also on February the 8th, was it the 8th?
I'd have to ask my wife.
Anyway, we're going to be at the Knoxville Public Library at Cedar Bluff doing a little presentation.
Yeah, we will post it on our Facebook page.
Yes.
And put a post on our actual website too, so then you can stay informed on our public speaking. Oh, what did Faces in Stone say? He just wrote us something. Oh no, he didn't. Yeah. Oh no, they haven't. He says.
All right.
Go back to comments real quick. Hold on. I haven't heard of that, but I will check it out. I'm on your website now. Oh, awesome. So Brasstown Bald up there, they found, it's been several years back, but it's one of the guys that was there doing some archaeological stuff and everything and mapping it out. They've also done LiDAR of it and stuff. They believe that it may be Mayan in origin. It's pretty neat because there's some things that does tie in to some other stuff. I think, have we done a show on it one time before?
I don't think so.
No, maybe we'll throw a show together.
We have done one with a Mayan connection to the United States, but I don't think for that particular area.
Gotcha. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to play the little break, and we will catch you
Saturday. No, that'll be Tuesday.
Thursday.
So we're thinking about changing some things up. Instead of doing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, maybe doing a Thursday and Saturday. So therefore, we could use the rest of that time to really get good and prepared for these shows and stuff like that. It's something that we're talking about doing. So, if we don't come in on Tuesdays, and we'll rearrange how it's going to be done, but we'll definitely do it Thursdays and Saturdays, right, Jason?
Yep.
All right. Well, everybody have a good night and have a good rest of your weekend. Thanks for spending this time with us. Right, Jason?
That's right.
All right.
Thank you.
In the heart of Madisonville, Tennessee, lies a pizzeria like no other. Step through the door of Legends and Lore Pizzeria and be transported to a realm where paranormal and cryptid encounters along with mouth-watering pizza go hand in hand. Meet Eddie and his crew, who serve up slices of the supernatural along with the best pies in town. With the walls adorned with eerie artifacts, indulge in piping hot slices that melt in your mouth and tease your taste buds. And it's not just the locals who love the incredible pizza. Legends and Lore has been selected as the best pizza joint in all of Monroe County. As lovers of everything pizza and the paranormal, the owners have mastered the art of crafting unforgettable combinations that will leave you wanting more. To stay connected with this mystical eatery, follow Legends and Lore Pizzeria on Facebook, where tales of their latest creations and upcoming specials will be shared. Make sure to browse their custom menu, featuring legendary pizzas like the Chupacabra Ranch and the Exorcist. So, whether you have an appetite for the supernatural or simply seek the best pizza in town, Legends and Lore is the place to be. Come for the unforgettable flavors, stay for the captivating stories, and find yourself in a world where legends and pizza collide.
What if the world we know is merely a fraction of reality? What if there are forces, entities, and phenomena that exist just beyond our comprehension in the shadows of the unknown? Welcome to Paranormal 411, your gateway to the unexplained and the downright chilling.
Get ready to rock with the electrifying sound of Catalyst, a band that's sure to leave you wanting more. With their powerful lyrics and killer riffs, Catalyst is a great sound in the world of rock music. You can listen and find Catalyst on Bandcamp, or go to the link at paranormal411.org and click on their banner.